Hey, yo, what's going on, guys? Got a brand new deck guide for you guys today. We're going to be going over BYU, the Affliction creation created by Roram and by Cougarr. This deck was a lot of fun. I was using it post-Infinite and getting some great success with it. Also, huge shout-outs to Cougarr for winning the Golden Gauntlet this past weekend, and Roram for also placing top 4. Both of their infos will be down in the description below. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So here is what we are working with here. We have some movement cards as well as affliction cards. You might be like, what? Miles Morales with this movement stuff? It's weird. But you have Hydra Bob and you have Mercury. You have Grandmaster as 3 cards here that can move cards. Either, move Bob with a snap, move Mercury itself, or Grandmaster your on-reveal cards in order to get Miles value so you can play Ajax and Miles potentially on the final turn. Or some other different combinations of cards, which is really nice. You have Red Guardian to turn off some of these annoying just cards, especially if they're in a lane by himself, is really good into like a Morbius by itself on turn 3. Because if you play this the right way, maybe you have the Bob Scorpion into Red Guardian, so you can turn off Morbius, and then you have opportunity to do some crazy stuff there. Also, you can go Red Guardian one lane, Grandmaster Red Guardian into another lane. But I'm honestly liking the Red Guardian, like Grandmastering a Laufey or a Cassandra Nova is something I'm doing more often than not than I would do like a Red Guardian or even a potential Hazmat. We are not running Luke Cage in this list because Luke Cage is kind of counterintuitive to Ajax because you kind of want your cards to get hit a little bit too by the negative power in order to buff your Ajax more. And of course, you're playing your cards also in such a way sometimes to maybe not get as many afflicted because, order does matter when you go into the Hazmat and stuff. So there's a bunch of different options there, which I really like with this list. This list was a lot of fun. It definitely took some getting used to really like figure out the play lines and the way I wanted to play stuff out. Am I going more into Ajax here, or am I going more into just maybe getting an Abomination and a Miles Morales and having maybe a Laufey to do stuff? Like Laufey, of course, really gives you some Abomination power in the sense where Laufey can hit multiple cards in the same lane. Those cards being afflicted, if they haven't been, of course, hit by like a Cassandra Nova or a Scorpion, can give you some extra value to discount your Abomination. Laufey as like either a late game kind of finisher if you don't have the Ajax, or prior to an Ajax to get value, so you have another like pretty much scaler in another lane, is something that I really do like with this list. Of course, your main affliction cards are your Cassandra Nova, your Laufey, Red Guardian, Hazmat, and Scorpion. You are tempoing Scorpion, of course. There's not really another. I mean, you could play Mercury. It kind of, if you're facing move, maybe you would go Mercury, but you don't necessarily have to play Mercury on 2. I would go more Scorpion on 2 to kind of make it so like the rest of the game your opponent is playing a higher chance of playing cards that have been afflicted with negative power. Luke Cage is almost nowhere right now. You're seeing it mainly in like Cerebro 2. Or if people are playing the Wiccan version of Affliction, which I haven't seen a lot of that, but mainly like a Cerebro 2, Cerebro 3 would have something like a Luke Cage. But other than that, this list feels pretty solid into a larger variety of matchups. And of course, knowing when to snap, knowing when to retreat is kind of, when you have some of those like really solid lines. Like one of my main instances, I actually did this in a game, you'll see in the video as well, is snapping into a situation, of course, where you have your combo cards, but not playing out all of your combo pieces. Meaning, I knew I was going to be able to get another movement to get Miles to be a 1 cost on turn 6, as well as hitting enough cards with negative power to make Abomination cost 0. So instead of, when they were able to be played on turn 5, instead of playing out Miles Morales and playing out Abomination, I held them in hand so it was intel my opponent didn't necessarily know, so they had to play around differently and really spread their power out in a different way, opposed to having to account for power already on the board. Which that unknown power is really strong, in Snap in general, which is pretty impactful. And, Red Guardian also within this video hit a bunch of key cards that threw off my opponent's combos and didn't really allow them to maybe high roll the way they really thought they could, which I do really like in this deck. We are going to now jump into breaking each one of these cards down individually as well as substitutions for them. All right, first and foremost, we are talking about the Hydrogen Bobbert, which Hydra Bob is a move card in order to get some of that value for potential Miles later in the game, snapping into moving Bob. And it's also a solid just card to be able to just play out on curve. Cheap, something you can play out with something like an Ajax or something you can play out with other cards, which is really good. With the 4 power, if you don't have Hydra Bob, you could maybe play something like a Silver Sable, because then you're also getting the Affliction. You're just going to be down a move card, hypothetically speaking here, that you have to, of course, snap to be able to move, but you could use potentially, like I said, Silver Sable and then Grandmaster Silver Sable. So then that's also a move for Miles. Next, of course, we do have Mercury. Mercury is kind of one of the key cards in this list, especially into a lot of the stuff that we're seeing right now. There's a lot of Sam Wilson back again, a lot of move going on. So you have Mercury to kind of offset that. If you don't have Mercury and you just want another card you can move, you could do Jeff, but I think Mercury is kind of really key in the meta right now as something I would probably suggest it just keep in this list. Next, of course, we have Grandmaster. Grandmaster is another one of those cards that can move your honor reveals. They, of course, move to the middle, and your card has to be able to be moved to the middle for it to be able to count as a move. Then the honor reveal goes off again, which is also pretty strong here, to be able to give you just different options, which I really like. This is kind of also another key card in this list. There's not a direct card that is exactly what Grandmaster can do, but maybe you would go towards a cheaper like a Nico, or this is where you would do a Silver Sable kind of situation here if you don't want to use Grandmaster or don't have Grandmaster. But I think he's pretty vital in this list. Next, of course, we do have Scorpion. Scorpion is just, one of those cards that afflicts your opponent's cards in hand of -1. Cards afflicted, give you Ajax power, and they give you Abomination discount. Next, you have Cassandra Nova. Cassandra Nova hits, all the cards that are in your opponent's deck, which is very strong in order to be able to, now their draws, whenever they play a card out that they've drawn, it gives you the Ajax value, gives you the Abomination value, really good into a lot of people going and playing. I've seen a lot of Kang recently, and it's really good into Erishim. There's been a lot of, locations that also can give you Cassandra Nova value. People also playing Merlin and doing once in future puts a card back into their deck to give you, if you play Cassandra Nova, gives her 1 extra power as well. A really good just, piece in here that I really like. If you maybe don't have Cassandra Nova, you could try something like a Rocket and Groot. Rocket and Groot also, would enable you to continue to get, afflicted power because, it steals power. Or even if you don't have a Rocket and Groot, you could maybe try something like a Diamondback, because Diamondback also works with the affliction stuff, but of course cards have to be afflicted in order to get the Diamondback value. And then you have Red Guardian to be able to turn off some of these lower powered cards or cards just sitting in a lane by themselves. Don't be afraid to tempo out a Red Guardian to offset your opponent's combos. As simple as that. If you have a Red Guardian and they have something that really can just get disrupted if you Red Guardian now, don't be afraid to use it on curve. Of course, it's also not bad late game, especially if your opponents have set things up to be able to get value. I have instances in the video where I hit Captain Carter's, which Captain Carter doesn't get the value that they would have hoped, with Red Guardian hitting them, which has been just pretty impactful, I'd say, into a lot of these matchups right now. Of course, hitting like a Jocasta, they kind of turn that off. Hitting a Jocasta maybe even later before they try and Prodigy a Jocasta, so then they don't get the Prodigy value. Of course, the end of turn matchup is a little interesting here. It kind of really just depends on did they draw the nuts or not. But if you don't have Red Guardian, like I said, you could do maybe the Diamondback. You could maybe do like a Rocket and Groot. But I still think the Red Guardian is probably one of the better options there. Of course, you have Hazmat. Hazmat hits the entire board, meaning your cards and your opponent's cards with negative power. Hazmat's a very interesting card where more often than not you're trying to Hazmat late game. But if there's an instance, like let's say hypothetically speaking, right, your opponent plays a Deadpool and they haven't destroyed a Deadpool just yet, you can go ahead and Hazmat their Deadpool potentially to make that Deadpool of 0 power so they don't get any of that Deadpool value. So like this can be kind of situational, but more often than not, this is kind of more of a late game kind of finisher. Next, of course, like I said, we have Laufey. Laufey, steals the power from cards in his lane and gains that power itself, which is very nice. This card is very solid, especially in this list, to get Abomination value, to get Ajax value, because you're also hitting your cards too. Just keep that in mind. You do steal power from your cards in that lane, so you kind of have to math out stealing the power from your cards and your opponent's cards in order to kind of like get the right calculation. And then you have Miles Morales. Of course, when cards move, whether that is, the Mercury, Grandmaster, Hydra Bob, those are the 3 enablers for Miles Morales. Getting you value, of course, you can only move Mercury 1 time, and Bob only moves when you snap. And you have to have an on reveal card for your Gold Grandmaster to move stuff. This card's really solid just to be able to throw down a 1/6 more often than not. You're not really tempoing this out. You're just literally playing this if you've moved cards. If there's instances maybe you have a bad hand, you tempo this out. But more often than not, you kind of are saving this unless you just don't have move enablers. Next, of course, you have High Evo. High Evo is for the Abomination, to be able to discount the Abomination. High Evo itself is not a card you're normally playing out unless it's a situation kind of like Miles. Of course, you play High Evo before you play Miles, because High Evo is 1 power more, of course, and has no ability himself. You know, he gives the beginning of the game abilities to Abomination. So, of course, we have High Evo in this as just a card to enable, not really a card to play. And then, of course, we have Ajax. Ajax gets +1 power for each card on the board with negative afflicted power. So you have a bunch of different enablers to be able to let this happen, whether it's the Scorpion, whether it's Cassandra Nova, whether it's a Red Guardian hitting a card, whether it's Hazmat, whether it's Laufey, whether it's Grandmaster enabling some of this stuff to happen again. This is one of your top-end cards you have in this list. It is very focal to this list because you're playing Affliction. This is like one of the major cards in this list. So there's not a direct substitution for Ajax. Same as for High Evo, there's not necessarily a direct substitution. There's a world where maybe you would go and do like a Man-Thing, or you would do something like an Anti-Venom, but I think that's a completely different list than what we're messing around with here. That's more the Wiccan-style Affliction list that you maybe have been seeing. And then, of course, you have Abomination, which gets discounted for, you know, the cards that you have afflicted on the opponent's side of the board. So if you have Abomination there as one of those like key cards you're able to play later in the game, either for 0, depending on how many cards, if 5 cards have been afflicted, or just a cheap card you can play out, kind of just depending on what your situation's looking like. But yeah, that's going to be the general gist of the deck guide today. Of course, we're going to jump right into some gameplay, and please feel free to check out Roram and Cougarr's info down in the description below. 2 great content creators as well. They're the ones who hive mind and made this deck, and then I will see you guys at the end of the video. Value just yet. Okay. Got some stuff going on over here. It's a mystery person. True. Meat Wagon's complete mystery. Yes, that is also true. We do have people that are just under. This deck, if it's just Cougarr's deck, I do believe this deck runs Shadow King. I do believe this deck runs the Shadow King, so that's something that's good for this middle, like this good location for them. So I play around that. So I'm pretty much going to probably be playing Cast somewhere else. Away from the middle. I mean, I could play it middle. It just depends. Mercury! It doesn't run Shadow King? Well, then I stand corrected. Captain Carter. Cool. That'll work for me. That will work for me. Yeah, we're gonna do this. Mobius, Vic. What's going on, Miss Joker? How are you doing tonight? How are you doing? So they have a Mercury they can move. Their Mercury is going to be... They put this on 4, and then this happened. Their Mercury is going to have 6 power. 6-powered Mercury. I have Prio. 6-powered Mercury... Because of Victoria Hand is my thought process, right? So this is 8 power here. So I need to play around that. Play around that. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1. Is it ever just hazmat middle? It's either hazmat middle or a hazmat right. Or it's left middle is 1, 2. 2 cards. I go up 2 there. Speed, Carter, Rogue, Quinjet. That will work. Cool. Left into middle. What's going on, Nico? 3 streams in a row? I appreciate you for 3 streams, brother. We go Scorpion. Scorpion left. What's going on, Foster? How are you doing, my friend? Welcome in. An interesting start here. Surge, and then we go Scorp. Scorpion things. Crown City. Red Guardian on Surge. And then I do have Hazmat and Miles. No more Surge procs. Merlin. Cool. Yo, GG's, in fact. GG's. This is going to be... Hi, Evo. And Lynn, thank you for 7 streams in a row as well. I appreciate you. Let's do this. First steps Galactus into Sentry. Okay. If I go... It would be I snap this into Cass Bob? I don't know. Canadian Thanksgiving today? Yo. Hope you had an amazing Canadian Thanksgiving. Amazing. This is weird. Actually, what if it is... Is it ever has... Bob... And I snap to move Miles. This hits 1, 2. This hits what? 1 more card, potentially 2 more cards. I think it's this. And then I move Bob. So then I can play like Abomination and stuff next turn. It's a weird snap. But I think it's this. To move Bob. I know we don't win left. And they do get extra value pretty much everywhere. Once in future, hit Surge. Okay. 1 less card for my Abomination. Omniversal. Great Web. Into Goblin. Oh, this is going to be like a Galactus deck, isn't it? I have a hunch this is going to be like regular Galactus too, potentially. But now they can't because of that location. But we can play all 3 of these cards, which is nice. Or we can do... I go... Cass, Abomination, or... Cass... They have 8 energy. Abomination, or it's going to be, because I'm going to lose 4 here. They're going to go to at least 13 middle. Because I think they could play First Steps Galactus and a spell here. Galactus has gone up twice, so Galactus is at, what, 14? Or not 14, 16. So Galactus wins here. Is it just this? cast left? Or do I need to play for right? Just in case. Could also do this. That is... Pretty just ties middle. Yeah. Or they retreat. Also, if that works. Works as well. Jawala! Good old Jawala. Just hit the 90s with discard. Nice. Nice. I'll play Bob. Wait, what? What? Jawala's playing Destroy? What? I'm sorry? What is this cheese? I ate a lot of pulled pork today. I mean, if I get rid of X23, does he stay in this game? You know, let's have some fun. We're going for it. We have priority. We get rid of X23. Let's do it. I'm glad he's trying different stuff, though. Glad he's trying different stuff. Kudos to him. Kudos to him. There we go. Deathlock. What's Toronto and Camaro? All right. Bob goes middle. No X23. 2 destroys. Okay, 50-50 here. 50-50, but if I hit this 50-50, this is crazy, right? Come on, Red Guardian! Red Guardian! Red Guardian, please! Yeah! Baby! Oh, let's go! Huge! So death is 5 cost right now. Death is a 5 cost. Holy moly. Death. If I go Laufey instead. Yeah. Let's go. Not able to get new the cards, which is why I'm not even collection complete anymore. I'm straight up not collection complete. Yeah, what a great. That's actually a great starting card for me. Yeah, we get anti-venom. Yeah, wait, this actually could kind of cook. This actually could be a crazy hand for us. Hold on, wait a minute. Lasher, is this a created card? It is a created card. Do I want a tempo has? Why not? Tempo has. Quinjet Vic. I'll go anti-venom. Ooh, yes. We have 2 game modes this month. We have Sanctum Sanctorum coming out this week, and then we have Grand Arena coming out on in 2 weeks, I think. I'm snapping into the anti-venom and having Ajax to mess around with. That is my thought process there. They could... So they'll have a demon. And what's going on the right there? A sentinel. Okay. Okay. And Bob moves right. I get... Go Ajax right into Mercury. A demon, misery. They'll get another one. Okay. I go... I mean, I could go Thing for Steps, and if I Thing for Steps here... This goes to 8. Of course, this could come down. If this hits my Thing goes to 4, and then can hit either one of these cards. Or I straight up just go Laufey and Scorpion, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This goes to 11. We lose 3, so we are only getting 8. This goes to 22. They play Demon here. Demon's 8. So that would be 17. We lose 4. No, it's move Mercury right into Scorpion Laufey because we don't want negative power on Mercury. Oh my. Actually fairly close. The Agamotto with Quinjet's really nice for them. Yep. The Guardian, Scorpion. We got some of these low cards, which is nice for us. And Jotunheim, good location for us. We'll go Scorp, probably Cass. Right. Merlin, or I could just nuke Merlin. Nuking Merlin also would be nice. No, don't give him any extra spells. With Prio too. Get that out of here. I'm gonna go Cass. And then probably Mercury right. Grand Arena's the one that had the Arishan vibes. Gladiator hits. Cool. That will work. I have Laufey and I have Grandmaster has. Seems like a pretty strong position for me. I have Mercury to be able to move around, and then I have Laufey to do things. They once in future Merlin. And then Surge. I could just go Grandmaster. And then Abomination. I go to 11 middle. This moves over. I'm not adding any extra Ajax value. They jug sentry. Sweet. That'll work. That will work. What is a last man standing? Is this about to be an end of turn deck? Some end of turn things. What we got? We'll take it. I mean, I guess they solidified Juggernaut, so like, that's a thing, you know. Can I sing Tears by Supreme Comforter? Bro, I wish. That is my favorite song off the new album. Easily my favorite song off the new album. We got Destroy over here. This does make things a little... or pretty difficult for me here. Like, I know we have Scorpion. We do have Grandmaster. We do have Bob. I watched the end of Crown Jewel, and then I saw the reactions to it. This is... okay. Oh, man. They Venom. Deadpool, X-23, Wolverine. Of course it lands in the perfect spot. Of course they both land in the perfect spot. Oy. I don't necessarily need Abomination there, is my thought process. Yeah, AJ Styles versus Cena was crazy good. No! 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 Wait, no, I lose this because I used Red Guardian. So, if they... they've destroyed 3 cards. So I can do Death, Deadpool. Yeah, if only I had Red Guardian before GM, that would have been a 50-50. If they Zola Null 18-18. I could go Hazmat, Miles, Ajax. But does that beat Death Deadpool? I'm sticking it. Okay. That actually is better for me, I think, right? Is that better for me or no? Oh, it is because of Jotunheim! Yes! Okay, never a doubt. Never a doubt. Putting both of my cards in Jotunheim was the key. All right. King the Conqueror, and we do have the cast in hand. Pog. You know, it'd be really cool. You know, like, be really cool. Oh. Okay, well, they have that. Never mind, they have that. I'm gonna go Scorpion. Got him. How we doing, Fly? Welcome in. Welcome in. No, I'm not, Fly. I promise. I promise I'm not. Got this. Someone get Tom Felton. Holy moly. What's going on, Dryden? Kang? Kang is Fastos? This Kang is She-Hulk, okay. Shadow King. Okay. This will be interesting. Yo, catch you later, Timmy. You have a good one, my friend. This is still winnable. Gwenpool? Oh, that's a little tough, though. To another Kang. What's this Kang? Odin! Odin Kang! Sarah. Can I win this game? I think I can win this. I think this can win right. Potentially. It does not win middle. Middle is cooked. Every card on the board is about to get hit. Actually, you know, right? I mean, if I move Merc, I go cast has. That is better. It'd be potentially more power. True. True. Let's do it. Cast goes to 10 left. They have 6 cards in hand. One of them's probably a Kang. This is going to be a matter of what happens, because I have to kind of high roll. If I get Abomination or High Evo, there's a lot of stuff that can really happen here. A lot of stuff. Bro, Dryden, this is doing actually pretty decent. What we got? Jug. Okay, well, that's good for us. Glad we filled, which means one of those cards might not be what we think it is. I hope that's just not a Rogue or a Chi on the right. Fenris! To Moon Girl. Okay, so Cash should still work, right? I think Cash still works left. Because they can't move anything? Yes. Sweet. Let's freaking go. Big Ajax into the high Evo middle. Cool. That will work. Getting the extra Mercury so we actually did not get hit by Jug, I think kind of won us the game. Let's go. Timmy, great calm with the hazmat middle, by the way. Great calm with that, or legit. Well, actually, hold on. Crazy thought, right? If I had moved the other Mercury middle, right? So I guess either way, I think I win, right? It just would have been hazmat left, so I would have had the same amount of casts, and I would have had 2 extra power here. And 1 extra power middle. With the swarm. So probably like with what you're saying too, if you do it with without the swarms, it might be better. I hadn't thought about that way. Mango is playing, if they're playing the same list, they're playing the Victoria hand thing. Is this about to be Merc? Aha! Aha! Oh, that's cool. Good for them. I'm going to Hazmat middle. Oh yeah, bro. I love discard. Discard is actually one of the first decks I ever used to get like close to infinite. I finished my infinite climb with a Darkhawk Devil Dino deck way back when. I'll do this. We will do that. This gets over here. I hit this. And then they probably do Bastion on the left. No Bastion left. Speed. Ant-Man. That's pretty hype. I go Grandmaster. And then so like Grandmaster is really good for this, for me to kind of like commit in other areas. Do I ever? No, I do this. This just seems really good. Mercury left. Is this bugged? Hello? Okay. We're going to do this, that. They move shield back over here. Play another card, play Cannonball there. Get that out of the way. Into Abomination and Miles. They Mobius, Goliath. Cool. That works. That will work. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys also so much for 4,000 subscribers. We've now hit 4,000 subscribers in the channel. I really, really appreciate all the love and support. It really means a lot. You guys have been absolutely incredible. This deck has been one of my, honestly, favorites I think I played this season. Like, I like the different options. I haven't played Affliction in a minute. I think my favorite, though, is still the bounce from, yesterday's video. But either way, I'm having a lot of fun this season. I'm really trying for like the first time in a minute in Snap, and like it's going really well. So huge shout out to that. We'll see how the OTA and the patch, shape things up this entire week and stuff. We got stuff going on, and we got Sanctorum coming out, I think, this week too. Let me know if you guys would like to see any Sanctorum guys. I can maybe see if I can put out a deck guide for that as well. But I want to say thank you guys so much for watching the video, and if you guys aren't subscribed, definitely feel free to subscribe to the channel. It is completely free, and definitely feel free to like and comment down below how your climb has been after week 1. And yeah, it's been real. God bless, and Tucker out.